Hi, I'm happy and very excited to welcome you
to our incredible channel, the Forest Channel,
where you can find everything about the food chain.
Join us on this adventure. Come on!
Nature and animals are part of all of us. They are just as important as any of us, and not only because of the incredible friendship they could bring to you. It's because without them, a few of the things we have now will not exist. They are a vital part in the cycle of life, and if one of those animals is not in their habitat or doing what it's supposed to do, this whole cycle could just stop and have an imbalance. This is why it's so important to respect and care for them and their ecosystems. Remember that they arrived before us. They are the true owners of the planet Earth. Humans are only invited to see the beauty that planet Earth can bring to us.
First of all, I will explain you a brief definition about what is food chain and food web. Food chain is a linear sequence of organisms through the nutrients and the energy passed as one organism that eats another. A food web consists of all the food chains that are present in a single ecosystem, and each living thing is present in multiple food chains. Now, we are going to explain you the two concepts in a more detailed way. A food chain is a linear network of the food web that starts with the producer organism, such as the trees or the grass, and it finishes with a predator, like for example, grizzly bears or a killer whale, or a decomposer species like fungi or bacteria.
A food web consists of all the food chain in a single ecosystem. Each living thing in an ecosystem is part of multiple food chains. Each food chain is one possible path that energy and nutrients may take as they move through the ecosystem. All the interconnected and extending food chains in an ecosystem make up a food web. Trophic levels. Organisms in food webs are grouped into categories called trophic levels. Briefly speaking, those levels are divided into producers, consumers, and decomposers, that are also known as producers, herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores. Producers make up the first trophic level. Producers, also known as autotrophs, make their own food and do not depend on any other organism for nutrition. Most autotrophs use a process called photosynthesis to create food from sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. Plants are the most familiar type of autotrophs, but there are many other kinds. Algae, plankton, and some types of bacteria, for example, bacteria living in active volcanoes, use sulfur, not carbon dioxide, to produce their own food. This process is called chemiosynthesis. Consumers, the next trophic level, are made up of animals that eat producers. Those organisms are called consumers. Consumers can be omnivorous or carnivorous. Like people, consume many types of food, but people eat plants such as vegetables and fruits. We also eat animals and animal products such as meat, milk, and eggs. We eat fungi such as mushrooms. We also eat algae and edible seaweeds like nori, like the thing that wraps the sushi, and sea lettuce used in salads. Bears are omnivorous too. They eat mushrooms and meat and salmon.
The pyramid of number. But what is the pyramid of number? Okay, the pyramid of number shows the total number of individual organisms at each level in the food chain of an ecosystem. Represent the number of producers, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer.
A pyramid of number not always have a regular pyramid shape because it does not take into account the biomass of the organisms. For example, this is one of the pyramid of numbers, and this is other. The first, it decreases each time we level up.
The second one is inverted pyramid of numbers, like you see, can be found in an ecosystem where the community contains a few producers with a large biomass that support a large number of smaller consumers, as we can see in the image.
Why overfishing is a problem? Overfishing is closely tied to bycatch, the capture of unwanted sea life, while fishing for a different species. This too is a serious marine threat that causes the needless loss of billions of fish, along with hundreds of thousands of sea turtles and cetaceans. What are the negative effects of overfishing? Loss of livelihood for fishermen, forcing them to work in other professions in other places. The global poor will likely suffer the most from the food scarcity issues, malnutrition, and economic insecurity due to the disappearance of global fish stocks. How does overfishing affect humans? Overfishing can have an adverse effect on marine biodiversity. Overfishing can damage and destroy the environment and marine ecology and completely interrupt the food chain. What can we do to stop overfishing? This means replacing fish in your diet with a smaller, more abundant seafood. This will cut down the demand for overfishing and vulnerable fish. Preventing overfishing. As fisheries has returned smaller yields, each year governments around the world are looking into what can be done to prevent the overfishing. Some of the methods include the expanding of the use of agriculture, more effective enforcement of laws, government costs, and improve fisheries management.
Effects of overharvesting, but first we need to know what is overharvesting. Overharvesting, also called overexploitation, is when wild organisms are killed faster than they can reproduce. But what is affected by this? One of overharvesting causes is humans, is us. Because of technology, there are fast and easier ways to hunt. And now, what causes overharvesting? Not only animals being overhunted, not humans are destroying their homes too. Which plays a huge role in overharvesting? Cutting trees for wood products has led to decline in rare tree species. Both plants and animals are at risk from overharvesting. We use technology to replace what the ecosystem should be doing, and by doing this, we are killing the species. Humans destroy the homes of many species by clearing habitats for agricultural purposes.
What happens when a foreign species is introduced in a new habitat? Okay, when a new and aggressive species is introduced in a new ecosystem, have any natural predators or controls, it can breed and spread quickly, taking over an area. Native wildlife may not have involved defenses against the invader, or they may not be able to compete with a species that has no predators. However, when they are transported and introduced by human beings in places outside their natural distribution area, are usually very harmful. It means that it produces changes such as composition in the structure or processes of natural ecosystems, endangering native biological diversity, in species diversity within population, or also diversity of ecosystems.
The relation of biotic and abiotic factors. First, with the abiotic factors. The abiotic factors, they are the non-living elements in an ecosystem. And now the biotic factors. Biotic factors, they are living or once living elements in an ecosystem. Now, the abiotic factors have the water, the sunlight, the oxygen, and the temperature. A biotic factor, as I already said, is a living thing that has an impact on other population in the environment. And the abiotic factors do the same thing, but they are not living things. To survive, biotic need abiotic and abiotic need biotic. In turn, biotic factors can limit the kinds and amount the biotic factors in an ecosystem. So now, the relationship is that both form like an ecosystem.
Our producer is the grass. Look here.
The primary consumer, grasshopper.
The secondary consumer is the bluebird.
Then we have tertiary consumer, the snake.
The own predator.
Finally, we have decomposers, mushrooms.
Thank you for your attention.
I hope you like it.
We hope that our video was very interesting for you. Thank you for watching.
Bye bye, see you next time.